Alright, yo, what's up everybody? Steno Worms, Steno Plays here. Today we are doing another Inkbound video. Today we are doing a bindings tier list. So there's probably going to be a bunch of them that are kind of similar, grouped in the same areas. I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can. So I'm not going to be like looking up everything and doing it best from memory. I have some pretty good time in the game, so I have a pretty good idea of like most of the ascensions and whatnot, and I will be kind of putting that into play on where I put these things. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, starting off with Bonk. So Bonk is the first binding on my favorite class, the Magma Miner. And I do love Bonk with a bunch of the things it can get. You can essentially have like 35% chance to spawn an orb. I don't know if you can double up on some, but yeah, you can have like 35% chance to spawn an orb on certain builds. For a first binding, I'm gonna put this at A. I don't think I'm gonna put any of the first bindings at S tier. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna put that at S tier because with that 35% chance, you can end up having quite a few moves on a turn if paired with some vestiges. Then we got Seismic Slam. I'm going to put Leaping Strike. Leaping Strike. I'm gonna put Seismic Leaping Strike at B. I do like it. I don't find myself using it too much. The shields on it is okay, but I find it being okay at times. When I'm playing Magma Miner, most of the time I'm using Bonk, and most of the time I'm using Smash. Leaping Strike I'm mainly using to get from point A to B. And for Smash, I'm going to put this at S tier. Combining Bonk with Smash, you can get some crazy damage on the Ascensions. The Bonk Ascension, where each strike does 5 burn, and then the Smash Ascension, where you detonate all the burn stacks, and I think it does like 40 damage per stack of burn right off the go, is pretty good. Next, we're going to be moving on to the Moss Cloak bindings. We're going to be starting off with Throw. I'm going to be putting Throw at B tier. I haven't, maybe it's just because I haven't played Moss Cloak enough, but I haven't ever been like blown away by my use of Throw. Now I have had some good runs with the Moss Cloak before, but never was Throw my move that you know, like pushed me through it. Scavenger's Dash. Now I do like Scavenger's Dash. I'm gonna put Scavenger's Dash at A tier, and I feel like Scavenger's Dash is essential to the Moss Cloak. I mean, most of these are essential to, I mean, all the classes are essential to the whole class, but I feel like this one is core essential to gameplay, especially with getting your shurikens. Next we got Flurry. Flurry's a great, I'm gonna put Flurry at S tier. There is a way you can essentially, there's something that you get it on Flurry, and if you kill, it resets the cooldown on your Flurry, and I believe discounts it by 1 maybe, or that might be another thing that goes with it. But Flurry is a great ability. It has carried me through some Moss Cloak plays. Thread. Now I like Thread a lot. I'm gonna put Thread at A tier. It starts off kind of weak a little bit, but your range is great, and once you ascend it, it gets crazy. Like the AoE of the ability to be able to thread so many people at once, fantastic. Next we're going to be moving on to Constrict. I like Constrict a lot, but being a physical binding on a mostly magic class, I'm gonna have to put this at B tier. I do like it, but it's something where you need not a lot of enemies to be able for it to be useful. I know there's ways to change that later on, but for most of the time you're using it, you're gonna be either doing very little damage to a lot of people or a good amount of damage to a couple or one person. So I'm gonna put Constrict at B tier. And for Stitch, I'm going to put Stitch at I'm gonna put Stitch at S tier. I do like Stitch a lot. Thinking about it, I need to go back. I think I'm gonna move Constrict up because pairing it with Threads, there's certain things where Constrict can detach your threads and then reattaching your threads. There's good combos there. I'm gonna put all the Weaver bindings at A tier. I think. I feel like that's a good place to put it. It's an all-around good class. I think I might have put the Weaver at S tier in my tier ranking video, which I mean I don't know if that'll even out. I think I'm happy with where I put these bindings. Next we're gonna get into Ironclap. Now I'm going to put Ironclap at B tier. Now I love the Obelisk class, but Ironclap is never that thing. I do like how you get 1 shield per use of Ironclap base off the grip, but that never has saved me from like a crazy amount of damage before. Now Shield Bash, I'll put Shield Bash at A tier. I love Shield Bash. Great for covering distances and doing lots of damage. Shield Bash is great. Next we're going to move into Seismic Slam. Seismic Slam is an S tier binding, 100% sure. It hits everybody on the map 100% of the time unless I think they're dodging. But either way, that's just great off the grip. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do about that? Love Seismic Slam, gotta be a S tier move. Now we're moving on to my least favorite class, the Clairvoyant. Starting off the Clairvoyant with Telekinesis, I'm gonna put Telekinesis at B tier. I don't really know if we're gonna use C and D tier at all really, but we'll see. Telekinesis, it's an okay move. It's not really great on damage, but I mean, the way the Clairvoyant works, you kind of gotta use everything in tandem together in order for it to like meld and blend. I'm gonna put Spirit Bomb at A tier and Psychic Pulse at B tier. I do not have a whole lot to say about the Clairvoyant, and that's just how that is. You know, if you've got some different opinions about this stuff, feel free to talk about it in the comments. You know, leave a tell me what you think. Let me know. Moving on to the non-class bindings, we're starting off with Cleave. Cleave has to be a S tier binding. Crazy damage, bleed's great, and when it ascends later on, you can either increase your damage, increase the area, increase the bleed. There's a bunch of things you could do with that. Cleave is a great move. Recommend it. After Image. Now, I wasn't the best fan of After Image, but then I had to do it on a mission, and I don't find myself returning to After Image, but I'm gonna put it at A tier. I do like After Image a lot, especially when you ascend it later on. It helps specifically with the attacks that are direct set on you. It just nullifies it, and who doesn't like that? Know what I mean? I think once you ascend it, you can like ignore like 4 attacks, which is great. Next we have Blink. I am putting Blink at S tier. Blink is a great binding. With things like when you blink, it'll spawn an orb for you. That's awesome. Love that augment to that binding. It's essentially a get me out of here button. You know, if you want to do some extra damage before leaving, Blink's great. And if you get the increased distance on Blink, you can basically blink anywhere. Love Blink. I feel like it might be slept on, but I also don't know. I don't really play with a lot of people, but I do love Blink. Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning and a lot of the other magic attacks I'm going to be putting at S tier. Chain Lightning goes great with like big powerful moves. So like if you were running Cleave and Chain Lightning, you could hit Chain Lightning, you know, get your lightning off to everybody, and hit with Cleave on the smaller portion of those people that you can hit with Cleave, and still pass half that Cleave damage onto everybody who's shocked. And augments that can like change the Chain Lightning to inflict 2 stacks of shock, which is also just a bonus. Next we have Cone of Frost. I'm putting Cone of Frost at B. I know I just said that I'm going to be putting most of the magic attacks at S, but Frost just kind of underwhelms me. It kind of doesn't do great unless if you use the fountains to get bonus frost damage. But I mean, if you do that, you can get some good bonus frost damage from the fountains. Next we have Cultivate. I'm going to be putting Cultivate at A tier. It's great to get you your orbs and, you know, set it forget it for a good little bit, but I end up getting orbs through so many other things that it really doesn't matter. Okay, next we're moving on to Incendiary. Now I like pairing Incendiary a lot with the Magma Miner and also with the Weaver. I'm also just a huge fan of Burn entirely. I'm gonna put Incendiary up at S tier. Then we have Invigorate. So I like Invigorate a lot. I'm gonna put Invigorate at A tier, mainly because I don't know if you can get it for free, but just the fact that you have to use, I mean, it's double damage, so like, how can you argue with that? Actually, thinking about it, Call to Arms puts it at S tier, because when you add Call to Arms on there, you can put it on your teammates too, but also along with it, it's not just an extra, it's not double damage for your next move, it's double damage for your next turn, for your whole turn. So, you know, Invigorate, top tier. Jinx. I'm putting Jinx at S tier. I love Jinx a lot. You can get an ascension for it that it changes to where when you get a kill with Dread, then you get your Dread stack, but it persists through combat. So if you get that as one of your first ascensions early on, then you can stack some pretty good damage on there. Next we're going to be moving on to Pilfer. I like Pilfer a lot. I want to put Pilfer at A tier deep in my heart, but I just can't do it. I'll put Pilfer at S tier deep in my heart, but I just can't do it. One, because it doesn't do damage, and two, after you get past basically, I mean, it does do damage at one point, but you have to ascend it in order for it to do damage, which is a drawback. But also, I love just balling in this game. That's one reason why I love Pilfer, and when you can ascend it to get damage, it's awesome. But yeah, it's a drawback. It's a drawback to have to ascend it to do damage, and it's basically useless if you don't have that ascension after, you know, the second boss. So I'm gonna put Pilfer at A tier, but most people might put it at B tier. But I like having a lot of money, so I like running Pilfer. Next, we're gonna be going on to Poison Vapor. Poison Vapor is S tier. Now, it is just recently when I have beat the game with the Clairvoyant, and I have only beat a run with the Clairvoyant because of Poison Vapor. There is an ascension on Poison Vapor that lets it do poison damage when you use the move, so you don't have to wait till the end of the turn. And then there's a vestige that lets your bindings not have cooldowns for the first 5 uses. And then there's that augment for Poison Vapor for the free time on the first use. So basically, first turn, first 4 quill, you stack 5 poisons and do damage each time, you could do some crazy stuff, let me tell you what. Restoration. Now, I hardly use restoration. This might be hard for some people to hear maybe, but I think if you're relying on restoration to get you through the game, you need to reevaluate the way you play it. At least for solo play. I don't play with people much, but for solo play, if you need restoration, I think you need to rethink the way you're doing things. You should be able to get plenty of health through other things in order to carry you through the game. And we have shield wall. Lastly, shield wall, I'm gonna put an A tier. I do like shield wall a lot. It's good to eat damage for a turn, especially with that ascension that it gives you like 10 shield per ascension. I just wish shield, you know, carried over to the next turn. If shield carried over to the next turn, this would be a S tier, hands down. You would be able to nullify all the damage you could ever have incoming to you. But yeah, that's it. We got through them all. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, yeah, so that was Inkbound Bindings tier list. Had a lot of fun making this video. You know, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have any different opinions down in the comments. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Deuces.